All right, guys, now the big secret, long range. What do I do? What is my procedure and my advice to you? What should you do when you go into the field? First of all, you have to bring the right products. Go with at least 2 patch antennas. Here I have 4 patch antennas by TrueRC. That's the product I use all the time. I love their products. As I said, never did a bad experience and I flew so far with them. So I would go with really long range. I would go with 4 antennas. And then also for the drone, I prefer to have like a long antenna at the back of the drone. That's also by TrueRC, and as you can see from all rotation, it's always away from the electronics, a good line of sight. That's super important. It's also super light, so the weight doesn't affect like the efficiency of the drone. Then on this one, I have the diversity, so 1 antenna in the back, horizontal, and I have the 1 vertical, and I have that because when I fly far out, I'm gonna have this piece looking towards me, and when I'm coming back, I always have like this part, and I don't have anything between the antenna and me. That's really important. Last but not least, I have this setup, the Crossfire, with this antenna, also by TrueRC. I had these products before they start sponsoring me, so I was definitely like trying out and was definitely convinced about their products even before they started sponsoring me. That's a really good one. It also puts the antenna away from the electronic and you get a little bit more range since that controller only has 250 milliwatts, but you can fly kilometers out without any problem. What's the procedure I usually do? So when I go in the field, don't just fly or rush, take your time. And basically think, okay, how do I have to position my antenna? Is it like a long way from the right to the left? Then you have to put your antenna a little bit away from each other so you cover more of the parts. Or is it, I want to go really far in just one direction and then I point these antennas more like towards like my front, having like a smaller angle between them. That's important. And then think about how you have to move your head. Like, is it just you have to go up and you have to go a little bit down when you reach the bottom of the mountain? Or do you have to go and put your head from the right and then you go to the left? You should really plan that, and it's the same with the controller, because what you don't want is like that you put your goggles on and you start flying up on the hill, and then like, because with the image and you're like in the shot, then you like start lowering your head because now you're pointing towards the end, but your drone is like still up on the mountain. You're gonna lose your quad, that's for sure. So it also takes time, confidence, and practice that you learn to move your head with the drone, and that's extremely crucial. And that's actually what defines if you fly 1 kilometer or 6-7 kilometers. Is really about how good can you basically keep the drone in line of sight. If at any time something is blocking the signal between, you're gonna run into some issues. If this is like just a super small tree, that might be fine, but if there's like a big rock, you're gonna crash it. And one thing you should always like pay attention. You might have a GPS and you might have the direction, but if you fly out 4 or 5 kilometers and you're going to turn around, that camera is very different from your eye and it's more wide angle. And if you turn your quad, you see the nature from a completely different perspective. And I give you now an example. Then first you say, okay, I want to dive down that ridge. And then you go up and you start diving that ridge. But what you didn't see is like that the ridge is actually dividing into 2 parts. And then you just like, because you're in the shot, you have to focus like to also be close, to have this proximity shot. You start focusing on that ridge and then you follow the wrong ridge. And from where you're standing, you go behind the rock, your drone is gone. So it's really important to have, next to how close you fly, and also next to the signal strength and the batteries, you have to kind of predict where you have to fly. And that makes it so difficult. And that's why it also took me at least a couple of months to get used to and feel comfortable when I do these shots. Because I have lost now 2 drones. One is because I just flew at the very end, wanted to get just a casual, quick flight. I lost my drone. I lost another drone because I already did the hardest part, but I was flying back over the water. I didn't pay attention. There was a lot of like reflection on the surface. I couldn't see. I crashed in the water. And the last ones I lost it was because I wanted to fly through a hole. I had too much confidence and I crashed into a concrete wall. So it's important that you have a good confidence to do the shot, but you shouldn't be too confident to risk too much, and you have to know your limits. And my most important rule, just don't land where people are. Just don't fly over their heads. I see like a lot of FPV pilots, they go super close behind someone on a motorbike. If that guy breaks or something and you hit him with the props, you're going to injure him really bad. And also, why do you have to have him the closest in the frame? If you look from a cinematic perspective, you don't want to have half of the body in the frame and can say, wow, I was so close to the guy with the motorbike. You want to have a nice framing, and usually you don't have to go too close to a subject. Especially with these open props, you get like, yeah, you can like injure someone really bad. So I would be really, really careful, and also not like show off in front of people doing crazy loops, go close to people. If you hit them, it's really bad. All right, so I said you're in the field, you're not going to predict the route, you're just standing there, you're not rushing. Like when I say you did the shot twice and you did an okay shot, what I had to learn is you can always improve. But the longer you wait, the more you have to deal with different adrenaline levels. So when I do a crazy dive, I'm super nervous, but I'm very focused. And when I have too many shots after each other, my adrenaline was high, but at some point I became confident and it's really low, and that's why I not pay too much attention, because I have already in my back head, oh yeah, I did the shot, and that's actually when I crash all the time. So even I can get one more shot, there's like a point, you're hungry, it's already late, don't risk it for the last shot. Usually you're gonna crash it exactly then. So just like stay healthy in the decision. And it's also with the batteries. If you go up the hill, don't stretch it too much, because you very quickly at 3.5 volts, and then when you have still like 4 kilometers back, and you're not going to make it and you're going to crash. So that's also, you want to like test slowly and increase more until you have an okay shot, a good shot, but then you start like decreasing again. With the battery and the range, what I suggest is you have like 4.2 is fully charged, 3.5 is where you have to land. On the DJI goggle, it shows you 25 volts or 21. That's when you are like below 21, you have to land. So how I do it, I usually fly out, see, okay, I get into the 22 mid or 22 low when I go up the mountains. And I know, okay, when I fly down, I don't use that much power. When I still have a way back, I have to like take that into account. So don't stretch it, go up, see how far you can go. You have another pack, you take the other pack, you go up a little bit more, and that's how you slowly go, slowly like increase and finding your optimal distance, and you're not gonna push it. You not just put the GoPro on and you fly as far as you can. What I also suggest, if you fly up, I would cruise with around between 7 and 9 amps. You have that on your OSD if you set it up the way I showed in my tutorial. So you want to have 7 to 9 amps and you cruise up, and that's a sweet spot between enough speed but not too fast that you need too much energy. And then you have, when you drive down, of course sometimes you need a little bit more, but you need way less energy. But that's what I've experienced. So keep in mind 7 to 9 amps is really good for a cruise, or even 10 when you like going up like a mountain or a ridge.